Just about to start. Yep, I just started it. Oh, there's Lowen. And Miss Reinhardt? And there's another one, I just don't know. Hi, Miss Reinhardt.
Hello, hello. And Barbara.
Oh, there's Miss Reifenberg too. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to let everyone in. Are we ready?
Well, I'm not quite sure because I'm not the
I'll share the screen, okay? So
then how are you going to listen in while we talk, or how does this work?
I'm here the whole time. And so hang on, I'm sharing. So I'm here the whole time. I'll introduce you and then I'll interject, and then you guys can like go back and forth between the screens and what have you, okay?
So do I have control of moving the screens or no?
Would you like control?
It might be nice.
Okay, I'm gonna make you host and see if that will do it. Did you see that you're host?
I am host now.
Can you do it?
It says I'm sharing Robin's screen.
Do you want me to stop sharing and then you bring up?
Yeah, stop sharing, see if I can.
Okay. Oh, and you have to let everyone in now, okay?
Okay, let me see if I can share my screen first.
Oh, so you want me.
So I want to do that and share and make this big.
You just hit present and it will do the whole screen.
Yeah. Okay, and so how do I let everybody in?
So go down at the bottom or wherever that thing is, it says participants.
Uh-huh.
And I think it'll be like admit everyone.
Participants, invite. Admit all.
There it is.
Okay.
There they all come. Awesome. And then I'll introduce, okay?
All righty.
And then you're just going to keep seeing people pop up. I just need to know how many participants. Hello, hello, everyone.
I'll mute and then just kind of interject as I go.
Hello.
So glad to see everybody. Everybody. I want to see. There we go. Oh, Miss Reifenberg, you went on to a different computer, I see.
Yeah.
So if you guys are right next to each other, you're doing some feedback. And so
no, we're next door.
How come I'm getting a lot of feedback when you're talking? You sound like you're in outer space.
Yeah, I do hear that too. Am I too close to you? Right.
Kindergarten was on the same computer if you want. I mean, it's okay. Just have to turn Barbara's off. Because you guys sound like you're from outer space.
You're going to leave.
There it is. Perfect. Awesome. Well, I want to welcome everyone to our program presentation for incoming second graders for the 21-22 school year. My name is, I'm so excited too. My name is Robin Saray and I am the executive director. I have two teachers who taught second grade this year on. To the left is Miss Reinhardt and to the right is Miss Reifenberg, and they are waving. So they're going to take the lead on this, and then if I might do some interjection. Oh, there's Ananya. Hi, Ananya.
Hi, Ms. Robin.
Hi. Sorry, I like to see kids. That's okay if they're not on. And so, anyways, I'll let you guys take it away.
Great. Wonderful. Well, hello. As she said, I'm Mrs. Reinhardt. I I have been here the whole year. I was lucky enough to get to experience the whole church time and then the fun old move and here we are almost done with the second grade year and I can't believe it.
I came in October and it's been great. It's just been a very great experience at the school.
Let's get started on the presentation here.
Okay.
So, there we go.
Do you want me to do this one, guys?
Sure.
Awesome, I'll do this one. Okay, so at Kaleidoscope, we just like to review our mission. We provide academic rigor balanced with innovative hands-on instruction for every child. We cultivate strong relationships with students, families, and communities while facilitating our children's limitless potential. And unfortunately, you know, cultivating strong relationships with students, families, and communities with the pandemic has been a little bit of a challenge. We've tried our hardest this year, and we are hoping that coming into the new year, that we will be able to incorporate and cultivate stronger relationships by having people on campus. I'm just going to quickly go over our 5 core values. It actually talks a lot about it further on in the presentations, but our first one is the unique learning environment. And one of the things is that we are going to have 30 kids in the classroom with 2 teachers. We do a co-teaching environment, and there will be 60 kids in the whole entire grade. And then these 60 kids will be tested and they will be put into a math group and a reading group based on the way that they learn best, which makes for a very unique learning environment. Our character development is once a month, we focus on a core virtue and we make sure that we, which could be perseverance, diligence, and what have you. And we make sure that have I heard this before? Yes, you've heard this before. The character development is definitely something that we focus on, but on top of the character development, we have the social emotional. We have an inclusive learning environment where the students and the teachers are working together inclusively. Meaningful family and community involvement was very challenging this year. However, we've strived very hard to try to keep the families involved via Zoom. And community involvement is through community outreach, but we haven't been able to do all the stuff, which the teachers will talk about in just a minute. And then finally, our academic excellence, which they'll go into. So,
right, thank you. I'm going to click for there we go.
Our day has a schedule, and we start off with social emotional learning. That just gets the day started right. And if any student is having a problem, we can deal with it before it actually becomes any kind of a problem. We move on to our ELA, which is reading, writing, grammar, and comprehension. And the children are taught through Spalding phonics. And it's a way, if you're not familiar with it, of teaching children certain sounds. And so if they were reading a book of their own and they saw phonograms, that they could be successful at sounding these words out. It's a wonderful program. We've got our kids reading really, really well. We do a lot of book studies as well. And the children always get very excited and they're making predictions. And when they don't know a word, they're raising their hand. And it's a magnificent teaching tool. With math, we do Singapore math. The great thing about Singapore math, like what we do at the school, everything is hands-on. If you can see me, you can see my hands are everywhere, so it's perfect for me. And other math systems just have you memorize. And what's the first thing you forget over the summer? Well, math. But if the children really do understand what they are doing, it is so easy to bring them back into it when they come back from a long break. They have a snack break and recess. We are building up our yard. We've got swings now. We've got a metal dome. We've got the tires. It's just expanding. The kids are so excited. We have a lunch break and a lunch recess as well for the children. And we have specials. There's art and music and PE. They have computers and Spanish. And so each day of the week, they have a special. And for science and social studies and virtues and poetries and sayings, we do use core knowledge. There are books for this, and it guides us along. The children really get to understand what was behind. They aren't memorizing dates. They understand what is going on behind our science and our social studies. A lot of hands-on. We do lots of experiments. Even with social studies, we get our hands sort of dirty. When we did the American Revolution, the kids wrote letters to nasty King George, and protest letters, of course. And Paul Revere and even the Boston Tea Party, they were making cartoon strips with the characters dialoguing it. The one other thing that we've done too is readers' theater. And we performed for the first graders. And the first graders, it's like their mouths were dropped open, and it's like they said to their teachers, when do we go to second grade? When do we go to second grade? So there's a lot of interaction with staff and our students. We have exploratorium at the end of the day. This can be a lot of things. If we are working on a science experiment or we're doing a special project for social studies, we had used this time when we were doing readers' theater for the children to make their own costumes and to, of course, rehearse. But what we try to do most of the time is break the students up into math groups. And those students that need that little extra attention, they get that. But the students who are moving forward, we provide activities for them. We don't keep them just in the middle of the road. We recognize that they need some extra motivation. And so that is our day, and I'm ready to go sleep.
No, it sounds super fun. And just a reminder is that our specials, what we do is we try to take the specials teachers and correlate them with what's being taught in our math and language, social studies, and science. And so in second grade, when they were learning about the revolution, right, Ms. Reifenberg?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Then we would do art pieces based on that, and we would do music based on that. And so we definitely try to do some integration of that. So.
A good example is when we were talking about ancient China towards the beginning of the year with Mr. Aldrain. He's our art teacher. We made little terracotta soldiers, and then Mr. Aldrain had them actually make terracotta soldiers with clay. So it wasn't, just it's in social studies and then never seen again. He's incorporated that a little bit more into the art presentation, and he could go into the art side of those terracotta soldiers while we hit, some of the history part of it and how they were discovered and how they're preserved and all that stuff. And he got to do this is how you make a terracotta soldier. And so it really integrated well into our program. Yeah.
All right.
So this is our just our morning, and once again next year, God willing, it won't be such a COVID year where everybody has to stay out of the room, except for the kids and the teachers. But we do have some before care and after care still. You can start at 7 a.m. and we go till 6 p.m. The drop off is typically starting at 7:45. We've got a pretty good system now of getting people in and through and out without you having to stop and get out. You're always welcome to stop and get out and walk your kid to the door. But this year, we have to limit who can come in and those kind of things. So it works out pretty well though. And then the afternoon, there's the same two options. Some people wait outside and we have a neat little program that we do that sends the kids out of our room so it's not such a mess. In the afternoon, it's pretty organized and pretty streamlined. As a teacher, I really like our dispersal because I can keep my kids in the classroom and send them as they go instead of, just herding them out and hoping for the best.
Yeah. And just to talk about for next year, we will definitely allow parents to walk them to the classroom, Parents will be allowed in the hallway, and they can also be outside and come in. So we have all the parents outside right now. And so they will be allowed to go in the hallways waiting and to pick their kids up right there if they want to. That will be a for sure.
Excellent. So here's some of our curriculum. Mrs. Reifenbach already talked a little bit about it. I'll touch on Sanford Harmony a little bit more. It's a neat little program that we use that focuses on different parts of good character. And what we're working on right now in second grade is problem solving. But it's not just, you have to solve a problem. The first thing we have to do is recognize that there is a problem. And then we have to talk about the problem and be able to talk about it, kindly to each other, respectfully to each other. And then we have to come up with a compromise. And then we have to, work and see if that works or not. And if that doesn't work, then we have to go back and talk again. And so it's not, I enjoy this program, teaching this program, because it's not just, hey, solve problems, guys, figure it out and solve it on your own. And that's not what they focus on. They really focus on, let's look at each little part of this so we can solve the problem in a way that's very understandable for a second grader.
And it's funny, they present a series of scenarios and the students respond to it. And then every once in a while they go, hey, wait, that was like something happens in school. And they go, wait, that's like the thing that happened when we, like 2 weeks ago in that story. And they see that connection. And then they discuss it and it gets solved. Yes.
And yeah, so Mrs. Reifenbach already touched on the Singapore math. We really try to be hands-on because, when I was in school, when many of you were in school, I'm sure too, when we were learning our multiplication facts, it was, these are the multiplication facts. Right. This is your multiplication table, memorize it. And, in Singapore, they spend some more time talking about, well, 3 groups of 5 is different than 5 groups of 3, even though you get the same answer. Now, why is that? And what happens if you add another group of 5, or what happens if you take away a group of 5? So it really tries to get them to really understand the math rather than just memorize the math.
And Singapore is very visual. Yeah. I think most people are visual learners. And if they can see it and get their hands in it, and when we were doing multiplication, we were working with arrays, boy, it just like that light bulb went on. They could actually see it was more than 5 times 4. They could physically see it and understand it. So Singapore gives them the tools that just stays with them as math gets increasingly more difficult as they move on.
And then we spoke about Spalding. Shut that door. Yeah, we spoke about Spalding. It is a really neat phonogram program to learn that OR might make this sound or that sound, and so when you see it in real life in a book, in a article that you're reading, or those kind of things, what sounds that makes. But it also goes into, she was talking really briefly about it, Mrs. Reifenbach was, about when we do our comprehension, when we do our book studies. And right now we have these cards here that we give the kids. And so it's making connections, monitoring comprehension, and predicting. And so we give them these cards, and as we're reading, they can hold them up and show us, that they're predicting something. Oh, I think that, in the next part of the story, this will happen. Or, oh, I wonder if this person's going to be, good or bad, or, and then the monitoring comprehension. If you come across a word, gosh, what's a word that engage? That's one of our spelling words this week, actually. And I asked the kids, I said, does anybody know what engage means? And oh, no. So then we talked about it and we worked it through. And so then it's something that will hopefully stick with them a little bit more than just saying, this is how you spell engage. Now we're moving on. And then the last one, the one that I really like, is this making connections one, because it's, taking our book, we read The Goose is Gold. It's a fiction book. It's an A to Z mystery book. It's really cute, but, it's not going to connect with them unless they make those connections, unless they say, oh, I was on a boat once, or my uncle found a piece of gold, or I've been to Florida. And any of those connections are such a great way to, just make the story stick instead of, just reading the words and then moving on, keeping that comprehension strong. And yeah, the core knowledge of science and social studies, we do follow the core knowledge. And it does a really nice job of keeping things, like it says there, the sequenced and specific, and keeping things in a nice order so we don't get too far afield of where we're trying to be.
And just real quick, just so you know, the Singapore math and Spalding should be flipped. We kind of made a little mistake there.
I didn't even notice it. I just looked at the title. And then our core virtues. This month is courtesy. And so we're using that word a lot in our classroom, showing courtesy to each other, showing kindness, showing politeness, showing respect.
And actually, my students, we're leading the pledge this week, and our class is talking about courtesy to the whole school over our loudspeaker system. And my students have written the passages, the wonderful passages that you've been hearing over the loudspeaker. And they're excited to do that. They've been excited about writing. And it's just, we've both seen that little light bulb go off at the top of their heads. Yeah, second grade has been great for them.
Here's some pictures of our hands-on activities. Up here in this corner, it was they were measuring things. We were using our rulers and we were measuring things. We've got when we were talking about the continents, we were putting continents on a globe there. We've got some phonogram games. This little one was making stick figures. I think we were talking about ancient India at the time, talking about stick figures. This is our chocolate chip cookie experiment.
Yes, it was
erosion. Yeah, so we were doing some erosion, and it looks like this little fella here was probably writing around the room, maybe. Instead of, it gets boring sitting and reading all the time, in ELA. So we try to get them up and get them moving, even during those times.
And when we celebrate all the holidays, and we celebrated Diwali.
Yeah.
And once again, this is the art program coming in to assist us. The students all made little candle holders, and we got the battery operated candles for it, and it was decorated beautifully. We went out on the basketball court and did all sorts of illustrations and drawings, and the kids just loved it. The kids absolutely went crazy for it. And for Earth Day last week, we had worm races. And they couldn't talk about anything else. Yes. And in fact, what was your class?
My class, yeah.
Her class won over everybody in the whole school. So that was exciting. Yeah. Second grade rules.
That's right. I got a very large bag of gummy worms. So here's our philosophy on classroom management and discipline. We follow the love and logic, which is more of, instead of saying, just knock it off and stop it, we, hey, what's going on? Tell me what's happening. Tell me, the reasons behind it. Let me explain to you my reasons. If there's a consequence, these are the reasons you're getting the consequence. It's not just, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed and so I'm punishing you, because what teacher would do that anyway? But we want them to understand, their decisions, good or bad, have consequences. And so we want to approach that with a loving attitude, because adults respond better to it, children respond better to it. When you come at somebody, and if they've done something wrong, if you're coming at it with a lot of love, it's a lot easier to work through the problem than it is to come at it and saying, you did this wrong and you did this wrong, and that's why you're sitting out, or that's why this is happening and that happening. But if you pull them aside and say, hey, listen, why did you push little Johnny? Or why did you take little Johnny's pencil? Or, you know, what's going on? What's happening with you? Let's figure this out. And then, you know, if there needs to be an appropriate consequence, there'll be an appropriate consequence. But sometimes, and I'm sure in Mrs. Reifenbach's class too, once we talk about it, the consequence would just be, you know, extra salt on the wound, and there doesn't need to be that.
Mm-hmm.
So
and the program goes so nicely with our Sanford Harmony too.
And then real quick, also, oh, I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
And real quick, the Love and Logic, we also offer parenting classes. And so what we do in the classroom, if you are interested in using the same terminology and approach, we offer free parenting classes every month for our parents for the Love and Logic as well. I'm gonna see if we can go just a little bit faster on this.
Okay, so field trips, once again, we're really just hoping everything's trending like it should.
Yeah.
So we should be going on some field trips, one in the fall, one in the spring. You know, going to the zoo is always a fun thing to do. Going to the Japanese gardens. You know, you could even, I know some years, Slim Goodbody, he does a whole body system play. That's a fun thing to go to too. So to get these kids out and get them out in, you know, away from their classroom, but still sneak in some learning without them really realizing it. Here's our standards-based grading. You know, we do grades, but what we really focus on is if they really understand it. If they can show us that they understand whatever topic it is. You know, and the standards are there, and the standard says, you know, can count by 5s, 10s, all the way to 100. If they can do that for us, you know, verbally, and then for whatever reason, on whatever day we give them their little quiz, and for some reason they can't do it, that doesn't mean that affects their standards-based grading, because they've showed us, based on the standards, that they can count by 5s to 100. Yeah. Even if the paper doesn't necessarily on that day agree with what we've seen with our own eyes.
Sort of the traditional way with A through F, your child gets a poor score and you don't understand what area of, whether it's math or reading or history, you don't understand what that weak point is. But with standard base, you can actually zero in on it, and then we can work with the student to get them up to speed.
Go ahead. Yeah, these are our school spirit days. Once a month we have one. Our last one was Animal Print Day. That was a pretty fun day. I don't have any animal print, so I got to wear a silly cow hat, which the kids liked, and I still got to show my school spirit, even though I don't have any animal print kind of clothes. So that's kind of a fun thing that we get to do throughout the years.
And the kids love coming in as a superhero, as a rock star. There's a sports day where they can wear jerseys and for their favorite teams. It might be a certain color where they're dressing all in that color. So they blend in. Backwards day, you don't button your shirt in the front, it's in the back. And of course, Fridays are traditionally our Kaleidoscope Spirit Day. And it's exciting in the morning to see everybody in their Kaleidoscope shirts.
Going back to our mission as a school is to, you know, work with the companies around us, the groups around us that are part of our community. And so every month we pick an organization that we donate to. And so you can see the list here. You can see the list here. So this month we were working on this AZ strut. So it's recycling used technology, and boy, we all have used technology. So instead of just throwing it away, recycling it, letting some kids, you know, really get their hands on some electronics and figure out how things work. And then next week it'll be, you know, for the free arts for the abused, and homeless children, and that'll be the same for next May too, which is a very good charity to look into, because, you know, we're lucky enough that we might not be in that position, but there are some people out there who could use our help. So we like to pick a charity and try to help as much as we can as a Kaleidoscope family.
And I do work for some animal groups, and people want to help. They hear it, they want to help, but following through is something else. Our school follows through, and all the organizations we've assisted have been appreciative, and it just makes you feel good. And the kids feel good. You know, they're excited to bring things in.
And then we have our birthdays. If it's store-bought, you know, unfortunately we can't do handmade stuff anymore. Right. But you can bring in some store-bought treats. Popsicles are always good too. Kids love popsicles even in the middle of December. And we always do a fall party, a winter party, a Valentine's party, and then our last one coming up here is going to be the end of the year party, where we just kind of hang out and enjoy each other's company for the last day. I do believe.
And I think that.
All right.
So we're very, very excited for the upcoming school year and welcoming our second graders, our incoming second graders. We're so very excited about that. Ms. Reifenbach and Ms. Reinhardt, you did a fabulous job.
Thank you.
Never hesitate to reach out and ask if you have any questions, but we are moving on to the next program presentation. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Thank you for attending.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.